Hey there, it's Monkey. Today we're going to be taking on Motor, and I'm going to break down the gear, the food, the setup, and the fight itself for you. This will apply whether you're playing vanilla or using the mod I'm using, Epic Loot. Once again, the links are all down in the description. I always welcome feedback, suggestions, stuff like that. But let's just sort of jump into it right now. As always, preparing for a boss fight kind of starts back at your base. We're going to make sure that we've got our food eaten. You want to have probably a couple really good hit point foods and then one really good stamina food. I'm showing you this chest right here because this is my backup food. A couple hit point foods and stamina foods in the event I should fall off a cliff and die or get mauled by wolves. When I start back here, I can eat some food, some really good food, and then get back in the fight a little bit faster. I also have a frost resist potion and a second frost resist cape and some healing potions, just in case. It's always good to sort of be prepared like that. I also have two portals set up for my fight. I've got Motor and Motor B. Motor B is my backup portal. And we're just going to go through our Motor portal instead. So I've already prepared the terrain itself for this fight. This is sort of my little hut that I've built just to kind of protect it from the elements. I have a little fire in the corner, and I have a little bit of a hiccup here getting out. And the reason why is so while I was building it to prevent wolves and whatnot from attacking me and getting into that area to chomp on it. This terrain I've mostly leveled out. Well, I've chopped some out to create a little bit of a floor for Motor to land. Motor needs a little bit of room. She's a big dragon. She'll need a little bit of room to land and fight. So I've kind of cleared out this terrain. You can see where the color change happens. Level it out and chopped it away some. I've built workbenches into various parts of the terrain. This will cut down on wolf spawns interfering with the fight and whatnot. Again, I've cleared out this area as well. And basically just blanketed the area with workbenches. There's one up on top of that ledge behind this tree here. And then down below here, actually, you see that little keep that's down there. That's actually where my backup portal is sitting. That's really the main gist of like setting up this fight. You want to lay out some terrain, flatten it out a little bit to give her an incentive to land somewhere around this summoning stone. Also, you see this big pillar here. You kind of can't miss it. That's land that I raised up, and the reason why is because there's going to be a point during the fight where she will take off and blast the ground with a lot of ice shards. And standing behind a pillar like this will give you easy cover. Say she's up there in the sky. It'll give you easy cover to dodge behind. You can dodge behind. You can use regular rock, like I've kind of carved out this place for this workbench. But she'll destroy regular rock over time. However, raised ground she will not. So solo with two people, probably one pillar of raised ground is fine. If you had maybe a larger team, you might want to have a couple raised pillars. Depends upon how much terrain you have to fight on too. This is actually probably about the smallest area I've fought her on before. But it is what it is. To summon her, you need these dragon eggs. And the dragon eggs you get from, I'll put a pickup on the screen. Basically, little crystal areas that are guarded by drakes. Optimally, you're going to find dragon eggs near the Motor summoning stone. That's what I managed to do. I've got a few spots marked on my map at this point. There was another one around here too. If you're unlucky, you're going to have to transport them by boat and then by foot up to the summoning stone because you can't take them through a portal, just like you can't take ore through a portal. That really covers it for the terrain of the fight. You can spend as much time as you want perfecting the battlefield, but the nature of Motor, she might fly off and land someplace else, and then you have to decide whether or not you're going to go perhaps out of the curated field that you've set up for her to go outside of that and fight her. Just depends on your comfort zone. If you wait, if you have good ranged attacks, nice arrows, then maybe you'll just stay, inside your area and shoot her from there. Otherwise, you're going to have to face her head on. Speaking of gear, generally speaking, with or without epic loot, you're probably going to want some upgraded armor for this fight. So going with the current tier, right, the Drake helmet, that's the mountain biome tier of head armor, the mountain biome tier of leg armor. This is actually from the previous tier. This is iron scale mail, and the reason why I'm taking the armor hit on this one is because it has thorns and stamina. Those are two things that I value for this fight right now. Thorns is a little bit of extra damage. She has a lot of hit points, so it's not going to make too much of a difference. But the stamina is important for me because I want to be able to dodge and attack more and maneuver around, and stamina helps you with jumping and running and whatnot. Additionally, you're going to want to keep in mind, particularly because you may have just recently crafted a Frostner that's got frost damage, that's got spirit damage, and some blunt damage. It's a great weapon for the mountain biome. It's a great weapon for the plains, but it's a terrible weapon for Motor. Motor is immune to frost and immune to spirit. So you're going to want to either go back to your iron mace or potentially have crafted a silver sword or a wolf spear, such as I've crafted here, or gamble for it. If you're playing with epic loot, maybe gamble for a good spear or an axe. Any of those will be good. The silver sword's nice in a way because you have that extra thrust attack that you can do with sort of a heavy hit, particularly if she's taking off or just landing. But I because I have recalling on the spear, it's going to allow me to throw that at her while she's in the air. So that's also convenient for me. Again, you're going to want to have a really well upgraded shield. As far as that goes, if you're rolling with epic loot, elemental damage reduction is nice, but she mostly does claw attacks on you anyway. So feint is good. That helps you ignore all damage. You have a slim chance, but it's a nice bonus. You don't really need a ground AoE attack, such as with a two-handed sledge, but when she throws down the ice crystals on the ground, clearing those out might be useful. Otherwise, they can tend to trap you a little bit. So it's definitely something to consider, especially if you're comfortable with weapon swaps and whatnot. For food, you're going to want a good stamina food. Ice cream, which is the mountain biome food. That's about the best you can get right now. Wolf skewers, solid. Also, you get it, basically from the mountain biome, you need onions and wolf meat for that. And also mushrooms from way back in the meadows. And then sausages, again, the best swamp biome food that you can make. Those are all three solid choices. For bows, you're probably going to want to have a Draugr Fang. However, if you are playing with epic loot and have a well-rolled huntsman bow, you can probably stick with that just fine. For arrows, Motor is vulnerable to fire. Therefore, a regular fire arrow will be doing 11 pierce and 33 fire. That winds up being 44 damage, but obsidian arrows do 52 as their prime damage number. If you manage to sneak into the plains like I did, you might get some skeeto thorns and be able to make needle arrows, but I'm pretty much going to stick with obsidian arrows. Just because they're going to do a little bit more damage overall when I'm not using my wolf fang spear, which since I have recalling on it, it's just going to bounce back to me anyway. The other note that I would give you is that for potions, you want to make sure that you have some medium healing mead. Excuse me. And stamina mead, always good to boost your stamina. You can have the tasty mead too, but that cuts your hit point regen down a little bit. It's still not a bad thing to have on tap, but I'm just going to go with some stamina mead. I already have a lot of stamina from the epic loot stuff. Now, I already ate my food, and this is already daytime, so we're going to dispense with the rest of the talking, and we're just going to get this fight started. One note, too, bone mass. That's the power you probably want to have, because that will at least cut down some of the damage that you take from the melee stuff. Gonna attach that in the bowl, and we're gonna hit sacrifice and just one quick check to see what I want to do here, and that's pretty much it. I'm gonna make sure I have campfire selected. Make the sacrifice and see if she's going to spawn. Wait, she spawns up in the air. Throw right about up there. There we go, nice hit. Come on down. Tumble rolling out of that would be useful. You can also block it. Nope, she's down on the ground over here. That happens. Try to get over on the same level as her. I can hear some drakes coming, but... Bring some stamina. And just keep plugging away. She's actually in a... not a great position for her, I would say. Not the best position for me either, but... Again, tumble rolls. Blocks are good. Eventually she'll take off, and you can kind of deal with these guys. This is where you can hide behind this pillar here. Yeah, guess she's gonna... There. Well, those didn't last very long. Again, not the best battlefield for me, but it is what it is. Well, I guess I'll just keep hitting her from down here. Oh. Not sure how a wolf got in here, but could just be because it's getting dark enough. This is a good point while she's flying around to kind of get stamina back up. You can plug her with arrows if you want. Here she comes. There we go. Just stand here and get the stamina regen from my stamina potion. And that'll help kind of carry through a lot of this fight right here. Just kind of... I'm actually kind of rotating around a little bit, sidestepping a bit. She's also pushing me. And this will finish her off. Not the best angle for fighting because of all these rocks around here. But the main gist of the strategy, like I mentioned, was either to do tumble rolling, because that gives you that little bit of invulnerability while you're trying to dodge that breath, or standing behind this pillar here just to break line of sight from that. And then throwing up attacks for her while she's in the air. She didn't actually spend a lot of time in the air, which is interesting, because I've had some fights where she's in the air all the time. But didn't matter much in the end. She does drop her trophy, like all bosses do. You can turn that in at Boss Henge, and that will allow you to pick up the power. I forgot to use my Bone Mass power, speaking of. I often do, but really, with having good buffs, having good armor, having some well-rolled epic loot gear, even without epic loot, to be honest, just having well-upgraded armor, it's not overwhelming of a fight. There's tougher fights to come, particularly the next biome. I would say Yagluth can be tough. Dragon Tears are the other thing that she drops, and you can use those to make the artisan workbench. We can also, because we have epic loot, we can melt some of those for item upgrade things. But yeah, that's the, let's see what we got here for drops. Ooh, we got a legendary Luff's Lancing Luff's Lancer, Lance of Lancing. However, it does not have recalling on it right now. I could try to re-roll it to see if I could get recalling on it. That would probably be useful. I'll have to look at the damage comparables as to whether or not it would make enough sense to do that at this point. We also did get a legendary shield with Thorns. Thorns is actually really good. Sorry, I've got a froggy throat today. Thorns is actually really good, not for the motor fight in that situation, but it's good against drakes, because when they shoot you with their frost damage, they will take Thorns damage back when they hit you. That's kind of nice, kind of helps supplement your range damage on them. It's also perfect for Death Skeetos in the plains, because Death Skeetos only take one hit to die, and which means they only take one splash of Thorns to die. So normally when you're fighting a Death Skeeto, we'll get to it eventually, but normally the combat would either you hit them before they get to you, or you block them or parry them and then counterattack and take them out. But with Thorns, they pretty much just kill themselves on you. So that's one of my pieces of advice for the Plains biome, is to make sure you have a piece of armor or a shield with Thorns on it. So that'll be nice. I might actually swap that one out. We'll decide how it goes, because that'll give me more than 25% Thorns overall. And we got a piece of Fenris. I do like Fenris because just the speed that you can kind of get on it with the no movement penalty and actually a little bit of a movement bonus. So that's a really good running around set. Other than that, that really wraps up the mountain biome. I'll probably come back here occasionally to maybe find some caves, because there's a lot of coins to get out of caves, and we use a lot of coins for gambling and epic loot. The next really important step that we have to take is to get into the plains, like pulling up our map here. By the way, I have a video that I put out about portals and sort of the portal strategy that I use. But in seeding my portals around the map, I found other camps of fuelings and other planes and whatnot. But that's going to be the next goal, is going to be to get into the plains, grab a sample of the ore, and boat it back to my base so that we can finally get some dark metal crafted, learn some of those recipes, and those recipes will then allow us to get more dark metal item drops, actually, from the fuelings that we wind up fighting in the plains biome. But that's going to wrap it up for this motor fight. Hopefully some of these tips in here and the layout of the terrain and whatnot gave you some useful advice. Do me a favor, tap the like button or touch the monkey in the corner and subscribe if you haven't yet. I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye.